Bienvenue chez Exam Heist, votre partenaire de confiance pour réussir vos certifications. Nous proposons des supports d'études complets, en ligne et hors ligne. Et nous sommes là pour vous guider pas à chaque étape. Des guides PDF détaillés aux exercices pratiques bien structurés. Toutes les questions essentielles sont soigneusement couvertes pour vous donner toutes les chances de réussir. Vous aurez toujours les bonnes ressources à portée de main. Téléchargez les PDFs. Faites des tests et connectez-vous à notre équipe d'assistance experte. Avec la pratique interactive en ligne. Entraînez-vous et quand vous voulez. À votre rythme. Nos PDFs prêts pour l'examen sont soigneusement élaborés et régulièrement mis à jour. Des milliers d'apprenants certifiés font confiance à notre qualité et à notre sérieux. Des professionnels qualifiés sont disponibles pour répondre à vos questions. Commencez dès aujourd'hui et donnez à votre préparation l'avantage décisif avec Exam Heist. Visitez Exam Heist. Comme dès maintenant. Exam Heist. Votre parcours vers le succès commence ici.
Question 1. Your company has a Microsoft 365 ES subscription. The Chief Compliance Officer plans to enhance privacy management in the working environment. You need to recommend a solution to enhance the privacy management. The solution must meet the following requirements. Identify unused personal data and empower users to make smart data handling decisions. Provide users with notifications and guidance when a user sends personal data in Microsoft Teams. Provide users with recommendations to mitigate privacy risks. What should you include in the recommendation? Option A. Communication compliance in insider risk management. Option B. Microsoft Viber Insights. Option C. Privacy risk management in Microsoft Priva. Option D. Advanced e-discovery. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Privacy risk management in Microsoft Priva. Question 2. You have an Azure subscription that has Microsoft Defender for Cloud enabled. Suspicious authentication activity alerts have been appearing in the workload protections dashboard. You need to recommend a solution to evaluate and remediate the alerts by using workflow automation. The solution must minimize development effort. What should you include in the recommendation? Option A. Azure Monitor webhooks. Option B. Azure Event Hubs. Option C. Azure Functions Apps. Option D. Azure Logics Apps. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Azure Logics Apps. Question 3. Your company is moving a big data solution to Azure. The company plans to use the following storage workloads. Azure Storage Blob Containers, Azure Data Lake Storage General 2, Azure Storage File Shares, Azure Disk Storage, which two storage workloads support authentication by using Azure Active Directory. Azure Add. Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note: each correct selection is worth 1 point. Option A. Azure Storage File Shares. Option B. Azure Disk Storage. Option C. Azure Storage Blob Containers. Option D. Azure Data Lake Storage General 2. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Azure Storage Blob Containers. Option D. Azure Data Lake Storage General 2. Question 4. You have a Microsoft 365 E5 subscription and an Azure subscription. You are designing a Microsoft deployment. You need to recommend a solution for the security operations team. The solution must include custom views and a dashboard for analyzing security events. What should you recommend using in Microsoft Sentinel? Option A. Notebooks. Option B. Playbooks. Option C. Workbooks. Option D. Threat intelligence. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Workbooks. Question 5. Your company has a Microsoft 365 subscription and uses Microsoft Defender for identity. You are informed about incidents that relate to compromised identities. You need to recommend a solution to expose several accounts for attackers to exploit. When the attackers attempt to exploit the accounts, an alert must be triggered. Which Defender for Identity feature should you include in the recommendation? Option A. Sensitivity labels. Option B. Custom user tags. Option C. Standalone sensors. Option D. HoneyToken entity tags. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D, HoneyToken entity tags. Question 6. Your company is moving all on-premises workloads to Azure and Microsoft 365. You need to design a security orchestration, automation, and response strategy in Microsoft Sentinel that meets the following requirements. Minimizes manual intervention by security operation analysts, supports triaging alerts within Microsoft Teams channels. What should you include in A? Strategy. Option A. KQL. Option B. Playbooks. Option C. Data connectors. Option D. Workbooks. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B, playbooks. Question 7. You have an Azure subscription that contains virtual machines, storage accounts, and Azure SQL databases. All resources are backed up multiple times a day by using Azure Backup. You are developing a strategy to protect against ransomware attacks. You need to recommend which controls must be enabled to ensure that Azure Backup can be used to restore the resources in the event of a successful ransomware attack. Which two controls should you include in the recommendation? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note: each correct selection is worth 1 point. Option A. Enable soft delete for backups. Option B. Require pins for critical operations. Option C. Encrypt backups by using customer managed keys, CMKs. Option D. Perform offline backups to Azure Data Box. Option E. Use Azure Monitor notifications when backup configurations change. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Enable soft delete for backups. Option B. Require pins for critical operations. Question 8. Your company has a third-party security information and event management (SIEM) solution that uses Splunk and Microsoft Sentinel. You plan to integrate Microsoft Sentinel with Splunk. You need to recommend a solution to send security events from Microsoft Sentinel to Splunk. What should you include in the recommendation? Option A. A Microsoft Sentinel data connector. Option B. Azure Event Hubs. Option C. A Microsoft Sentinel workbook. Option D. Azure Data Factory. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B, Azure Event Hubs. Question 9. A customer follows the Zero Trust model and explicitly verifies each attempt to access its corporate applications. The customer discovers that several endpoints are infected with malware. The customer suspends access attempts from the infected endpoints. The malware is removed from the endpoints. Which two conditions must be met before endpoint users can access the corporate applications again? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note: each correct selection is worth 1 point. Option A. The client access tokens are refreshed. Option B. Microsoft Intune reports the endpoints as compliant. Option C. A new Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, conditional access policy is enforced. Option D. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint reports the endpoints as compliant. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. The client access tokens are refreshed. Option B. Microsoft Intune reports the endpoints as compliant. Question 10. You have a customer that has a Microsoft 365 subscription and uses the free edition of Azure Active Directory. Azure ad. The customer plans to obtain an Azure subscription and provision several Azure resources. You need to evaluate the customer's security environment. What will necessitate an upgrade from the Azure AD Free Edition to the Premium Edition? Option A. Azure AD Privileged Identity Management. PIM. Option B. Role-Based Authorization. Option C. Resource-Based Authorization. Option D. Azure AD Multi-Factor Authentication. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Azure AD Privileged Identity Management, PIM. Question 11. You are designing the security standards for a new Azure environment. You need to design a privileged identity strategy based on the Zero Trust model. Which framework should you follow to create the design? Option A. Microsoft Security Development Lifecycle, SDL. Option B. Enhanced Security Admin Environment, ESAE. Option C. Rapid Modernization Plan, RAMP. Option D. Microsoft Operational Security Assurance, OSA. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Rapid Modernization Plan, RAMP. Question 12. A customer has a hybrid cloud infrastructure that contains a Microsoft 365 E5 subscription and an Azure subscription. All on-premises servers in the perimeter network are prevented from connecting directly to the Internet. The customer recently recovered from a ransomware attack. The customer plans to deploy Microsoft Sentinel. You need to recommend solutions to meet the following requirements. Ensure that the security operations team can access the security logs in the operation logs. Ensure that the IT operations team can access only the operations logs, including the event logs of the servers in the perimeter network. Which two solutions should you include in the recommendation? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note: each correct selection is worth 1 point. Option A. A custom collector that uses the Log Analytics agent. Option B. The Azure Monitor agent. Option C. Resource-based role-based access control, RBAC. Option D. Azure Active Directory, Azure AD. Conditional access policies. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. The Azure Monitor agent. Option C. Resource-based role-based access control, RBAC. Question 13. Your company is developing a serverless application in Azure that will have the architecture shown in the following exhibit. You need to recommend a solution to isolate the compute components on an Azure virtual network. What should you include in the recommendation? Option A. Azure Active Directory, Azure AD. Enterprise Applications. Option B. An Azure App Service Environment, AS. Option C. Azure Service Endpoints. Option D. An Azure Active Directory, Azure AD. Application Proxy. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. An Azure App Service Environment, AS. Question 14. Your company plans to apply the Zero Trust Rapid Modernization Plan, RAMP, to its IT environment. You need to recommend the top 3 modernization areas to prioritize as part of the plan. Which 3 areas should you recommend based on RAMP? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note: each correct selection is worth 1 point. Option A: data, compliance, and governance. Option B: infrastructure and development. Option C: user access and productivity. Option D: operational technology, OT, and IoT. Option E: modern security operations. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A: data, compliance, and governance. Option C: user access and productivity. Option E: modern security operations. Question 15. For an Azure deployment, you are designing a security architecture based on the Microsoft Cloud Security Benchmark. You need to recommend a best practice for implementing service accounts for Azure API management. What should you include in the recommendation? Option A: application registrations in Azure AD. Option B: manage identities in Azure. Option C: Azure service principals with usernames and passwords. Option D: device registrations in Azure AD. Option E: Azure service principals with certificate credentials. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B: manage identities in Azure. Question 16. You have an Azure AD tenant that syncs with an Active Directory domain services. ADDS. Domain. Client computers run Windows and are hybrid joined to Azure AD. You are designing a strategy to protect endpoints against ransomware. The strategy follows Microsoft security best practices. You plan to remove all the domain accounts from the administrators groups on the Windows computers. You need to recommend a solution that will provide users with administrative access to the Windows computers only when access is required. The solution must minimize the lateral movement of ransomware attacks if an administrator account on a computer is compromised. What should you include in the recommendation? Option A: local administrator password solution, LAPS. Option B: Azure AD identity protection. Option C: Azure AD privileged identity management, PIM. Option D: privileged access workstations, PAWS. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A: local administrator password solution, LAPS. Question 17. You have legacy operational technology, OT, devices and IoT devices. You need to recommend best practices for applying zero trust principles to the OT and IoT devices based on the Microsoft Cybersecurity Reference Architectures. MCRA. The solution must minimize the risk of disrupting business operations. Which two security methodologies should you include in the recommendation? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note: each correct selection is worth 1 point. Option A: active scanning. Option B: threat monitoring. Option C: software patching. Option D: passive traffic monitoring. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B: threat monitoring. Option D: passive traffic monitoring. Question 18. You have an on-premises network and a Microsoft 365 subscription. You are designing a zero trust security strategy. Which two security controls should you include as part of the zero trust solution? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note: each correct answer is worth 1 point. Option A: always allow connections from the on-premises network. Option B: disable passwordless sign-in for sensitive accounts. Option C: block sign-in attempts from unknown locations. Option D: block sign-in attempts from non-compliant devices. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Block sign in attempts from unknown locations. Option D. Block sign in attempts from non-compliant devices. Question 19. You are designing a ransomware response plan that follows Microsoft security best practices. You need to recommend a solution to minimize the risk of a ransomware attack encrypting local user files. What should you include in the recommendation? Option A. Windows Defender Device Guard. Option B. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. Option C. Azure Files. Option D. BitLocker Drive Encryption. BitLocker. Option E. Protected folders. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option E, Protected folders. Question 20. You have an Azure AD tenant that syncs with an Active Directory domain services. ADDS. Domain. You are designing an Azure DevOps solution to deploy applications to an Azure subscription by using continuous integration and continuous deployment. CI/CD pipelines. You need to recommend which types of identities to use for the deployment credentials of the service. Connection. The solution must follow DevSecOps best practices from the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure. What should you recommend? Option A. A managed identity in Azure. Option B. An Azure AD user account that has role assignments in Azure AD Privileged Identity Management. PIM. Option C. A Group Managed Service Account. GMSA. Option D. An Azure AD user account that has a password stored in Azure Key Vault. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A, a managed identity in Azure. Question 21. You have an Azure Kubernetes service AKS cluster that hosts Linux nodes. You need to recommend a solution to ensure that deployed worker nodes have the latest kernel updates. The solution must minimize administrative effort. What should you recommend? Option A. The nodes must restart after the updates are applied. Option B. The updates must first be applied to the image used to provision the nodes. Option C. The AKS cluster version must be upgraded. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. The updates must first be applied to the image used to provision the nodes. Question 22. You have the following on-premises servers that run Windows Server. 2 domain controllers in an Active Directory domain services. ADDS. Domain. 2 application servers named Server 1 and Server 2 that run ASP. Net Web Apps. A VPN server named Served that authenticates by using Radius, and ADDS end users use a VPN to access the web apps over the Internet. You need to redesign a user access solution to increase the security of the connections to the web apps. The solution must minimize the attack surface and follow the zero trust principles of the Microsoft Cybersecurity Reference Architectures. MCRA. What should you include in the recommendation? Option A. Publish the web apps by using Azure AD Application Proxy. Option B. Configure the VPN to use Azure AD Authentication. Option C. Configure connectors and rules in Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. Option D. Configure web protection in Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Publish the web apps by using Azure AD Application Proxy. Question 23. You are designing a security operations strategy based on the Zero Trust framework. You need to minimize the operational load on Tier 1 Microsoft Security Operations Center. SOC. Analysts. What should you do? Option A. Enable built-in compliance policies in Azure Policy. Option B. Enable self-healing in Microsoft 365 Defender. Option C. Automate data classification. Option D. Create hunting queries in Microsoft 365 Defender. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Enable self-healing in Microsoft 365 Defender. Question 24. You have a Microsoft Entra tenant that contains 10 Windows 11 devices and 2 groups named Group 1 and Group 2. The Windows 11 devices are joined to the Microsoft Entra tenant and are managed by using Microsoft Intune. You are designing a privileged access strategy based on the Rapid Modernization Plan. RAMP. The strategy will include the following configurations. Each user in Group 1 will be assigned a Windows 11 device that will be configured as a privileged access device. The security administrator role will be mapped to the privileged access security level. The users in Group 1 will be assigned the security administrator role. The users in Group 2 will manage the privileged access devices. You need to configure the local administrators group for each privileged access device. The solution must follow the principle of least privilege. What should you include in the solution? Option A. Only add Group 2 to the local administrators group. Option B. Configure Windows Local Administrator Password Solution. Windows Labs. In Legacy Microsoft Labs Emulation Mode. Option C. Add Group 2 to the local administrators group. Add the user that is assigned the security administrator role to the local administrators group of the user's assigned privileged access device. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Add Group 2 to the local administrators group. Add the user that is assigned the security administrator role to the local administrators group of the user's assigned privileged access device. Question 25. You have an Azure subscription. You plan to deploy enterprise-scale landing zones based on the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure. The deployment will include a single platform landing zone for all shared services and 3 application landing zones that will each host a different Azure application. You need to recommend which resource to deploy to each landing zone. The solution must meet the Cloud Adoption Framework best practice recommendations for enterprise-scale landing zones. What should you recommend? Option A. An Azure Firewall. Option B. An Azure Virtual Network Gateway. Option C. An Azure Private DNS Zone. Option D. An Azure Key Vault. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. An Azure Key Vault. Question 26. You have 10 Azure subscriptions that contain 100 role-based access control. RBAC. Role assignments. You plan to consolidate the role assignments. You need to recommend a solution to identify which role assignments were not used during the last 90 days. The solution must minimize administrative effort. What should you include in the recommendation? Option A. Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Option B. Microsoft Entra Access Reviews. Option C. Microsoft Entra Privileged Identity Management. PIM. Option D. Microsoft Entra Permissions Management. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Microsoft Entra Access Reviews. Question 27. You have a Microsoft Entra tenant that syncs with an Active Directory domain services. ADDS. Domain. You have an on-premises data center that contains 100 servers. The servers run Windows Server and are backed up by using Microsoft Azure Backup Server. MABS. You are designing a recovery solution for ransomware attacks. The solution follows Microsoft security best practices. You need to ensure that a compromised local administrator account cannot be used to stop scheduled backups. What should you do? Option A. From Azure Backup. Configure multi-user authorization by using ResourceGuard. Option B. From Microsoft Entra Privilege Identity Management. PIM. Create a role assignment for the backup contributor role. Option C. From Microsoft Azure Backup Setup. Register MABs with a Recovery Services Vault. Option D. From a Recovery Services Vault. Generate a security PIN for critical operations. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. From Azure Backup. Configure multi-user authorization by using ResourceGuard.